Hey there guys, hope you are having an amazing day. Today's gonna be a bit of a longer video, so go grab some snacks and stuff before we get right into this. Today I'm gonna be doing an overview of all 14 weapon classes in Monster Hunter Wilds. If you've watched my previous videos, you'd know that I have beat a monster with all 14. And I will be showing you and telling you basically the base mechanics and what each one's good for. First up, Longsword. The Longsword is really good for fluidity. It has really fluid movements that you can just chain and combo. If you need to get in and out quick, you have a fade slash you can use by clicking both triangle and circle together. Once your spirit gauge is full, you will want to basically spam right trigger, and that'll bring you to this part. It'll change the color of your blade, you'll do slightly more damage. If you do this again, you'll end up in the red, which is where you want to be. Red is the best you can get. A really quick way to get there is by holding the right trigger until it lets you do the spirit round slash. That'll instantly boost you up by a ton. Now I'm in the red, and this is when you would want to do right trigger, attack, and right trigger, and then triangle and circle at once to do the Spirit Helm Breaker. Does a lot of damage. For its focus attack, it instantly puts it up into the red zone, which is really good, because that allows you to just be really fluid with your combos and stuff. So from there, pretty simple. As long as you don't miss your attacks, you should be fine. Up next, we have the Greatsword. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that the Greatsword is only good for one thing, and that's the True Charge Slash, but playing with it, I've figured out that's not true. Now, granted, the True Charge Slash does deal an absolute ton of damage, but if you want to use it properly, you can also use the Wide Slash as tackles. There's a ton of different slashes you can use by clicking the different buttons. There's the Rising Slash, the Wide Slash, and the Offset Rising Slash. If I can actually hit it. There you go. Anyways, if you want to properly use it, you should chain all of these attacks, and when you get a chance, that's when you want to hit it with the True Charge Slash. Deals an absolute ton of damage, and you will not be sorry you used it. With the Greatsword, you can also guard by holding the right trigger. When you're guarding, you can do a little kick and then tackle them. The tackle deals concussive damage. For the focus attack, basically, if you hit a wound, you run along with the wound and deal a lot of damage before knocking it down, leaving a really good opportunity for you to do a True Charge Slash. As much as I would love to do a single hunt with all 14 weapons, I don't exactly have the largest amount of time, so I'll just keep it quick, short, and simple. Longsword is really good if you want fluidity and reliance. Greatsword's really good if you want to deal really large numbers of damage. Up next, Sword and Shield and Dual Blades. My personal opinion, these two weapons do some of the best DPS in the game. Dual Blade's damage numbers may not hit that high, but it can deal a lot of damage really quick. Sword and Shield has really reliable one second, gotta catch back up with him. Sorry that the sand's cutting out there. I am not sure what's going on, but well, can't really talk about the weapon until I can show you exactly what it does. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Completely free, helps the channel out a ton, and you can change your mind anytime. The Sword and Shield is really good. You can get in and out really quick. You can deal both slicing and concussive damage. When you click circle, you'll hit with your shield, dealing concussive damage. Hitting triangle will hit with your sword, dealing slicing damage. When you're at least a little bit into a combo, if you hold back and circle, you'll do a backstep. If you continue to hold circle, you'll jump forward and leap into the sky. If I can actually hit it, that is. No, okay. Just give me a moment, I'll get it. But you'll jump forward and you'll leap into the sky. If you hit triangle, you'll come basically barreling down with a sword attack, which gets you mounts more often. If you click circle, I don't need a mount right now. But whereas when you're in the sky, if you hit circle, you'll come leaping down with a shield attack, dealing large amounts of concussive damage. Really good combo I like to do is when you go backwards and you press triangle and spam click that instead of jumping into the sky. It ends up in the same way, but you get a little bit of extra damage before getting, well, sent up to the sky. Whereas, of course, it's gonna run away before I can show you guys the focus attacks. For the focus attacks, one second. You basically clutch, and you get to choose whether you'd like to use your sword or your shield by clicking triangle or circle. And you guessed it. If you click circle, it'll send you up into the sky, where you can follow up with this. Having said that, it has really reliable combos and really good for getting in, out, dealing large bursts of damage, and if you both want to knock something out and cut its tail. Also, since you'll be using a sword, it's really good for creating wounds. Up next is the dual blades. Ooh. Maybe I'll fight that once I'm done with the overviews. I equipped dual blades so I don't forget. Alright, let's get going. Keep in mind, right up here, there is a falling boulder you can use, if need be, to deal a bit of extra damage. Dual blades. You click the right trigger, you'll go into demon mode stance where you can charge up your blades. Really reliable, quick in and out combos. You don't want to stay in too long. If you do a perfectly timed dodge, you'll, well, go into this faster mode where you do more damage. Crap. But you have to perfectly time the dodge. Once your blades are fully charged, you'll go into Arc Demon mode, and you'll get the same attack and same skillful evades without having to be draining your stamina constantly. If you click triangle and circle together, you'll do the Demon Flurry, which is a really good combo. Now, unlike in Monster Hunter World, when you do the blade dance, instead of building up your demon gauge, it actually drains it. Once again, Arc. Oh, how lovely of you to join us. Let's see, you wounded yet? Yes, you are. Now, one really interesting thing about the dual blades is when you do a focus attack and break a wound, you don't just break the single wound, you break every single wound on that monster's body. I'll create a couple before actually destroying them to show you. Or it can run away, that works too. Oh, so much for short and sweet. Be sure to utilize both triangle and circle attacks. Circle attacks will move you distance. Triangle attacks are good if you just want to stay in place, but once you run out of that combo, be sure. Okay, see how there's multiple wounds on his body? If I actually manage to land it on one, it'll launch me up into the sky and destroy the other wound as well, allowing for massive damage. One downside of this weapon, well, there's a couple, is it has really long animations you get stuck in, which leaves you susceptible to taking damage in the long run. So if you're not that good at timing, dual blades probably aren't the weapon for you, especially with the perfectly timed evades. Because that's a big part of being able to use dual blades properly. And another downside is they lose sharpness incredibly quick. Having said that, that's the dual blades. Not too much more to say about them, except when you're going through the blade dance and stuff, be sure to use them both. Blade Dance and Demon Flurry are vital to use at once. If you use one and not the other, you're not really going to get too much damage out of it. But if you make sure to use all of them, that is going to be a ton of damage. And let's just kill this one before we switch to our new weapons. As you can see, it allows for really swift attacks. There we go. Audio is back. Anyways, dual blades in and out weapon. Really fluid combo attacks. They went like really anime with this one this time though. But if your attack style is quick in, quick out, they are extremely stamina heavy. So if you're not the best in managing stamina, you should try and find a separate weapon. It takes a little while to get used to though. Alright, let's go grab our next pair of weapons. Up next, the big blunt weapons, hammer and hunting horn. Both are really good. In Monster Hunter World, I used to be really good with the hammer. Then, if you guys watched my second video on Monster Hunter Wilds, I was garbage with it. I could not play it for the life of me. But, now that I understand how it works, that one's leaving. Now that I understand how it works, I'm not the worst with it. It's all about being able to properly use, not taking too long. If you're taking too long between attacks, then it's just not gonna go the best for you. One thing to note is that the way you attack with it is incredibly different from the way you attack with it in Monster Hunter World. Instead of being able to use the Clutch Claw for a massive burst of damage, that doesn't exist anymore. Also, pressing circle no longer puts you in a power stance, instead gives you a dodge. When you are at the full charge of 3, you can charges up. Really powerful attack when it actually hits. If I can demonstrate for you. Large amounts of blunt damage, large amounts of damage in general. Okay, right there, come on. There you are. Not what I was looking for, but okay, I hope you don't... Okay. If you can time it well, you can punish them with your dodge. Charging it fully up to 3 gives you the mighty Big Bang. Not happening. When you go slide down a hill, you can basically do this little attack that makes you feel like Sonic the Hedgehog. And the hammer is a lot more than just the charge. Their attacks between their upswings also can deal really large amounts of damage. One of my favorite things to do is get the charge up to its second tick. So 1, 2, uppercut. Then when it's out, you spam click circle to get the Big Bang. Now, its name does not lie, although it can be a little difficult to hit sometimes. Now, its focus attack, Earthquake. Well, it basically does the spinning bludgeon, knocks it down. Does a very large amount of concussive damage. Big Bang is usually used when you find a very good opportunity, an actually okay chance to use it. When there's an opportunity where the monster is stunned, or just generally not able to move for some reason. So if it's trapped or stunned, that's when you want to use the Big Bang. Mighty Charge is more of a timing thing. And after that, you use the Spinning Bludgeon, let this charge up, and then you can upswing and combo. Now, comboing doesn't work very well when it does that. That's basically all there is to cover with the hammer. Really high mobility for a weapon that can deal just as much, if not more damage than a greatsword. Hunting Horn. Now this is a really interesting weapon, okay? Well, because in every single attack you do, it plays a tune. If you notice up there, there are a few things to do. Now these melodies are really important, because not only do they buff you, but they buff your team. When you click the right trigger and actually start playing your melody, it's important that at the end of the melody, you start clicking the right trigger again. Every single time you play a melody, it is going to heal you. And the focus attack on this thing, I did it without explaining it to you guys, I am so sorry. But the focus attack, it basically lets you build up. So if you land in your focus attack, it's not gonna be able to really interrupt you trying to make your tune. So for me, I want triangle, circle, circle, and it's gonna do that. Just a really quick way of playing all your tunes without actually having to take the time to play all the notes. Remember, click right trigger at the end of every tune you play to get some bonus damage in. Having said that, that's all there really is to say for the Hunting Horn. Really good, buffs you, buffs your team. Deals a surprising amount of damage for a support weapon. Let's see, what weapons do we have next? The Lance and the Gun Lance. The Gun Lance was pretty popular back in Monster Hunter World. Pretty cheap weapon overall, honestly. People just do the shell expulsion multiple times, and then they would, well, then they do the quick reload. But the Lance, just the regular Lance, is one of the most slept on weapons in the entire franchise. It deals really good damage for how good of a defense it has. You can block almost any attacks, and no matter what comes your way, with every time you block, you can counterattack. Now obviously, doing good blocking, it takes your stamina, so keep an eye on that. You can even block the roars. Blocking can and will do damage to it, though. You basically, and when you hit it with the shield, which happens when you block, it will automatically strike back. That does deal concussive damage. So, offensive defense, I guess. In the end, it deals damage and blocks it. Now, if you click block and then hold block, then triangle and circle, you will start dashing. Not the best thing to do with the Balhara, but maybe against the big Tibetan Mastiff looking thing. Forget that thing's name, I'll check in a second. But when you're going up against that, it is really good whenever it's knocked down, because you can just charge into it and it will not stop until you want it to. It slowly drains your stamina and over time starts dealing more and more damage. Now, if you manage to get a full combo in, it does deal really heavy damage.
Leave this to me. Heals inbound.
Let's just go there. Power guard. God damn it. Why does he keep doing this? Hate it when he does that. Yeah, overall, Lance... If you enjoy blocking and taking the attention, the Lance is for you. It doesn't wound things the fastest, but definitely will. When you actually go to do the focus attack, you charge into it with your shield instead of your lance, and then you have to click right bumper again to do a finisher that deals even more damage. Once you do that, it will destroy the room and take massive damage. Up next, we have the gun lance. The gun lance is very popularly used for speedrunners. Although its defense isn't as good, and it doesn't strike back with every attack, when you click circle, it shoots. That was not the right button, but okay. And right after you shoot, if you click right trigger and circle at the same time, it quickly reloads all your shells. And you can also charge to make it so you shoot all your shells at once. And even after you do that, you can quick charge it.
Another monster's horning in.
If you look at it and then you block and click triangle and circle at the same time, it does something called Wyvern's Fire. Takes a long time to load up, but deals pretty decent damage. That barely hit it and still did 50 damage. Its jumping attack, not the worst. Also, the Wyvern's Fire does only have 2 charges. No, I did not mean to do the Drake Auger. Well, yeah, that's the focus strike. When you actually manage to land that on a wounded area, it will drill into the wounded area, expel the auger, and then explode. I'll try to wound this thing so you guys can see that.
This ought to put a dent in it. Leave this to me. Heals inbound.
Oh yeah, also that pierces through the monster. Forgot to mention that. Whoops. Oh yeah. No. Are you wounded? Come on. I need to get the wound on this thing. Come on, let's try and create a wound. Also has very low mobility. Both the lance and gun lance are very low mobility, kind of stationary almost. There you go. Come on. Let me hit this. There we go. Come on. I don't think they're gonna let me do this. Although I was not asking for consent. There you go. And at that point, it's game over. Time for our next weapons. Let's get off. Now it's time for the switch axe. Really good. And the charge blade. It took me a minute to figure out, but also really good.
Let's take a quick break.
There you go. There's something we can hunt. Quick, short, sweet, and easy. Oh, that's a really small one. Whatever. Switch axe has two modes. Axe mode. Heavy, quick, high mobility. And quickly wounds. Really reliable combo that drains stamina, but if you just keep spam clicking circle, you'll do wild swings. Once this charges up, click triangle to commit a heavy slam. Once that yellow gauge inside the weapon is fully up, you might want to switch to the sword mode. Now you have really low mobility, but really quick, heavy hitting combos. Instead of roll dodging, you do side steps. Once that red gauge is fully charged up, hold triangle and circle together and then spam click triangle to do a zero sum element discharge, dealing heavy damage. And I create a wound, again, just to show you guys what it looks like. That being said, switch axe, really reliable combo, really helpful to staying stationary. While you're doing this attack, you can click right trigger to morph and get some sword damage in. Anyways, that's the switch axe. Deals heavy damage, and sword mode deals really high elemental damage, which they don't really give you much to play with here in beta without actually being able to make stuff at the smithy. Charge blade is the sword and shield, but it turns into an axe. Like that. Once those files are red, while you're blocking, click circle to charge the files. At that point, you'll be able to charge your shield, charge your sword, and eventually charge the axe. Sneak attacks are awesome. There you go. Get to display this pretty quick. Buzzsaw. That's its focus attack. Buzzsaw. Anyways, once you charge, you do this combo, then click right trigger to charge your shield. Go to charge your files, then hold triangle, it charges your sword, and now your sword deals elemental damage every swing. And blocking is also now, if you do a good timed block, it's offensive. You also deal concussive damage with your shield. Anyways, when it's like this, you want to charge it. And you want to, for the most part, stay in axe mode. Although it's a lot longer and leaves you a lot more open to attacks. Mediocre timing, along with actually being able to hit your attacks, which can be tricky at the beginning, is definitely something you'd want. And don't worry, if the buzzsaw isn't hitting it, it will still take damage. And the super amped element discharge is one of the heaviest hitting attacks throughout the games. It always deals high damage and is always reliable. Anyways, really quick reliable combos that you can't really get mad at. No matter what, these combos will help. Let's grab two new weapons now. I'm trying to get through these as quick as possible. In the comment section, if you guys would like a more in-depth description, maybe a full couple of hunts with just that weapon, explaining every little bit, breaking it down on how it works, leave in the comment section, and when I get a chance, I will gladly do that for you guys. It may be a little tricky at times, because, well, you know, it's the last day of open beta. But I will be sure, no matter what, to do it for you guys. Anyways, it is now time to follow along with our froggy little friend and show you guys we are going to use the bowgun, light bowgun. I personally prefer this greatly over the heavy bowgun. I don't know, heavy bowgun is just really clunky in comparison. Now, both heavy and light bowgun you can customize, but I'm lazy and don't have the most time, so I did not. For its focused attack, you shoot a bomb. That's the easiest way to put it. If in the vicinity of the bomb hits, you're good to go. When you're attacking, you can slide. There's an option, at least there was in Monster Hunter, where you can quick reload by that. When you click to circle, you get energy mode, which basically turns whatever available ammo you have into all rapid fire, and if it is rapid fire already, it goes intense. Not really too much. Oh yeah, after a strike, if you hit circle, you'll do tracer, does more damage. Really quick way of doing damage. Time to do the insect wave. Also, light bowguns have a ton of separate ammo types. I cannot speak. But a ton of different ammo types. For the insect glaive, you control this little bug called a kinsect. You want this bug to bite certain parts of the monsters to give you certain buffs. There's the red for combat, there's the yellow for defense, and then there's the white for utility. White gives you partial earplugs and partial flinch free, like very minimum. When you have red, you do have more attacks that are available to your arsenal, and you do more damage. When you have the yellow buff, you take less damage, and that was not supposed to have that little health left, but whatever. That's why there's another one, eh? I gotta get to that thing so I can show you guys. No. I don't need health, I need stamina. Now, one thing you'll notice is that on smaller sized monsters, it can be a little harder to get certain buffs. Each area of the monster gives different buffs. The head usually gives the red buff. It's usually middle body that gives the orange buff. And either back legs or wings, depending on what you're fighting, that will give you the orange or white buff. Click right. When you're in an attack, click right trigger, then triangle to send it out, circle to call it back in. Okay. To fire that, which is basically bait for your Kinsect. Wherever you fire that is where your Kinsect's gonna go and continuously attack. For me, I have the blunt Kinsect on, so I'm gonna try and aim for its head with that. Like that. You can fire while you're in the air. When you're in the air, you can charge the strong descending thrust, which, well, really good combo. Really good thing to add in. And while you're doing the long animations, you're able to charge it up. So no matter what, you know you're doing really good damage. For its focus attack, well, you leap forward, leap backwards, shoot your Kinsect at it. Kinsect comes back with whatever it picked up, which can be multiple buffs at once. Well, that's actually usually all three. Actually, I believe that's a guaranteed all three, though. Yeah, you destroy a wound. Really good. Like, really good. Destroying wounds is how you're gonna get your buffs really easily. Because just like that, back to buffed out number 3. Then I can bounce to the sky. When you're in the sky, you're really vulnerable. Yet for some monsters, flying wyverns, where you have to break their wings, it is actually vital. Now, really good combo like that. Not much more to be said. Basically, you gotta be able to take your time and have precision with it. If you don't have precision, you won't be very skilled with the insect glaive. I should probably leave. We don't have time for this. I will see you in a minute. Which way are you going? Up there. Perfect. Time for the last 2 weapons. Now, I've been keeping this as short as possible. Video's probably going to be roughly around an hour long still. But hey. It's just a quick little overview of all 14 weapons. Now time for personally my least favorite weapon. Now, it's only my least favorite weapon because I'm doing it solo. When you have a group, the heavy bowgun is an incredible asset. Being able to stick back and carefully fire off incredibly powerful shots that deal massive damage. The fire rate is a little slow, has a decent amount of recoil, and you move like you're carrying a greatsword when you're holding it. Oh, sorry. Your dodging is pretty clunky as well. But not what I was trying to do. We're gonna ignore that. Anyways, deals relatively more damage than the light bowgun. It is also significantly harder to hit wounds because instead of a bomb, you have a single shot to hit with. Why would I shoot a dung pot? I'm taking those out right away. I got that reloaded. Oh, that's just rude, mister. Alright. When you click circle instead of getting focus mode where it's rapid shot, you get something better. You get a machine gun. Deals heavy damage really quick. And to charge it back up, you have to hit attacks. Now, you can equip a shield to this. See what I mean by harder? It's a single shot to a pinpointed location. You need to be able to take your time and hit it properly. Like that. But it really pays off. It deals an absolute ton of damage. Of course you had to get out from that. Now, once again, has multiple ammo types. Really hard to get a mount on. I will say that. Now time for my personal favorite weapon. This is the bow. May not deal high numbers, but it has the perfect dodge that the dual blade has, isn't as stamina reliable, and it is a lot easier to aim with than it is with, say, the heavy bowgun. There's this tracer shot if you charge up and click square, where no matter what, my shots now go towards wherever I place that tracer. When you see a wound, you have to lock onto it, which could have sworn I seen one on its forearms, but I guess not. But this makes it a lot easier to get those critical shots on the head, or say if you're trying to chop off the tail, or if your teammate is so you want to deal as much damage to the tail as possible, makes it a lot easier. Also, if you watched my video on Ray Dow, makes it a lot easier to hunt him. Mounts are incredibly powerful. Although they are rare to get because it's a ranged weapon, it is not for lack of reason. They do really heavy damage. That should be a wound. It's gonna be a wound. Now that it's locked on, I can show you. Now the longer you charge that, the more damage you're gonna do, and it automatically puts you into a Dragon Piercer. 1, 2, 3. That shoots 3 instead of just the 2. Now when you get close, if you charge up and then click triangle and circle, you hit them with 1,000 dragons. Really heavy attack. Takes a little bit to charge up, leaves you very vulnerable, which is why you want to time that properly. Because if you don't, it can really hurt you in the long run. Also forgot to mention that when you're walking around with your bow drawn, if you click triangle, you can add a power coating to it. Now there are separate coatings, or at least there was a Monster Hunter World, where you could do ailments like poison and stuff. Unfortunately, those are not in this quite yet. Well, that was all 14 weapons. Hope you guys had a good time watching. If you're still here at the end, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a like down there. Smash like button. Leave a comment on your thoughts on what your favorite weapon is. What weapon you'd like to see me use more, and what weapon you'd be interested in. Having said that, have a lovely day, and I will see you guys later.